It's 2020 and we're celebrating a new year, thinking of those resolutions for the year to come. However, on the other side of the world, the news isn't so great. There's a new outbreak of an unknown virus in China. In the city of Wuhan, those who are becoming ill seem to have a link to a local fish market. People are becoming seriously ill, and cases continue to rise and spread. The World Health Organization then announces that this is a new coronavirus. The news that no one wanted to hear, that the outbreak is a global pandemic. Testing ramps up around the world. Governments provide guidance to the best they can. Travel plans are halted. Despite these measures, more and more people become ill. We see our first case in the bubble of St. Andrews. Then,
we will beat the coronavirus, and we will beat it together. And therefore, I urge you, at this moment of national emergency, to stay at home, protect our NHS, and save lives. Thank you.
For everyone, you must stay at home unless it is absolutely essential to go out, and that includes working from home wherever possible. Life should not feel normal for you right now, so if it is, then you are not doing the right things, and I want to ask you today to please put that right.
So I guess I'll start with how it's affected negatively. So I guess it took me a little while to get used to working from home. Obviously, when we were locked down, everybody suddenly went from going into an office to being in a home environment. And I think the big thing for me that was negative was when you go into work, you come away from work, and it's easy to separate that work-life balance, if you will, or the difference between working and your personal life. Whereas being at home all day and then finishing work and you're still at home, it took a bit of getting used to. If I'm honest, now I actually quite enjoy it because I don't then have the commute in the morning. I don't have the commute after work. So yeah, it started off as a negative, and now it's more of a positive, I would say. And I mean, how it's affected my work, you could argue that there was a negative on how busy we were, because obviously, so my position at the university is a lecture capture coordinator, and everything teaching-wise moved online. So we were probably the busiest that we have ever been as a team. It was just it was manic, but hats off to everybody, because touch wood, I mean, it went very smoothly, as smoothly as it probably could have. And all the academics have been fantastic at actually taking on board this kind of brand new technology to most of them. So yeah, so I mean, you could argue that's a negative and a positive, because it did allow lots of people now know who we are in the TEL department, the Technology Enhanced Learning department, and I think we've done a lot of really good work, and we've created this really nice kind of online community of academics and learning technologists, and we're all able, as a kind of hive minds, it's funny enough, the team is called the Hive, to now help each other out, and I think that's a real positive of the lockdown situation.
Outside of work, what were the most difficult parts of lockdown for you?
Yeah, so outside of work, I would say initially it was probably, so I like to do a lot of walking and things like that, and we like to walk up Monroe's, but obviously the travel restrictions meant we really couldn't do that, and essentially it was to break up the day, we were going for a walk around the park, and that was nice at first, but then after you've done that for the 10th time in a week or whatever, you're kind of getting bored of it. So I think it was probably the fact that just not being able to see friends and family, that had a bit of an impact, and I think both myself and my fiance really were feeling that. We started actually doing a lot of Zoom calls with friends, and that eventually kind of became the norm after a while. And then I would say it was kind of strange actually initially when we were then allowed to go and see people and meet in gardens. I remember we went out and bought a gazebo just so we could go and spend a few hours with the friends in the garden, and if it rained it wouldn't really matter. But I remember having that sense of like it was kind of strange actually seeing people in person again. But yeah, it's all, I think it's all just been a bit mad and a bit everything happened at once type thing. So yeah, I mean, I'd say the most difficult part for me was probably just that lack of being able to socialize essentially, and having to kind of virtually socialize. I mean, one of the big things that helped me through that was I've got a VR headset. I've got an Oculus Quest, and that's kind of strange but it allows you to escape, because you can put this thing on and it's like you're in a different world, and you can still kind of socialize with people around the world, and it feels a bit more personable than doing it just over a video chat, kind of like this. So yeah, I would say that was the most difficult part for me. Really, was the lack of human interaction, shall we say?
What were the positive perspectives or outcomes to come from your lockdown experience?
So for me, certainly, obviously, a positive would be we've always been trying to push people to try lecture capture and take that technology on board, and we did have a little bit of pushback. So this is kind of, if you will, fast-tracked it, and it's got a lot of positives, because if you've got content that's now digital and is now available online, students with disabilities and from an accessibility point of view, it's a fantastic tool, and it kind of opens up this like the experience is now equal to all. So whether you've got a learning disability or you're hard of hearing or whatever, you can still participate in that kind of same experience as everybody else. So that's a great positive. Because now people are able to access that. They can learn at their own pace, for instance, with the pre-recorded material. I'm dyslexic, and so I can really appreciate being able to go back and kind of review a lecture at my own pace and take notes and things at my own pace. So now that's available to everybody, whereas before it was only available to specific departments who chose to opt into the lecture capture environment. So yeah, for me, that's a great positive. And I mean, something else that's happened recently. So one of my colleagues, for instance, their other half has just got a job in Sweden, and they're actually able to move to Sweden now and still keep their job here at St Andrews, and they're going to be working remotely, which would never have happened had we not gone through all of this, and had we kind of realised that actually we can do a lot of stuff remotely, and you don't necessarily need to be on campus to get the job done. So yeah, that's certainly a big positive, I think, as well.
What aspects from lockdown would you like to continue going forward?
So basically, yeah, I mean, pretty much what I've just said there. So we are actually in chats with our directors and stuff, and they've been really responsive with flexible working hours and flexible working. So I think what it's looking like, and the feedback that they've been getting from certainly the whole kind of seat department, is that I kind of balance of a mixture of being in the office and a mixture of being the home is going to be the best solution for everybody. So we're talking about either 2 or 3 days a week in the office, and then the other days at home. And I think that's a really nice thing to have come out of this. And it's really good that they're actually looking into this and thinking, actually, now we've seen the way this dynamics kind of worked. This could work like this, and it could be beneficial for everybody, because obviously, I mean, that there's things that you can do when you're working at home that you can't do in the office, and obviously vice versa. There's things that you can do in the office. So I think that as a balance is a great idea. Being able to kind of come into the office when you need to, but still be able to work from home. Certainly people who have dogs. This is going to sound mad, but if you've got a dog, it's nice to be able to be at home because you can take it for a walk at lunchtime and things like that. And you can only do that now working from home. So yeah, I hope that will continue forward. It does seem like they're certainly in chats to get this flexible working in.
If you're able to go back to the start of lockdown, what advice would you give yourself?
It's quite hard because it was so, obviously everything was so unexpected. I'm trying to think of anything that we could have done. We could have done differently. It's always hindsight to think that maybe different platforms we could have gone down this route, but everything was kind of thrown at us so hard. So I don't know. We just hang in there, really, which is what I've had to do. I mean, it was very intense at the beginning of lockdown because we went through, like, I think our user base was like 150 users, and obviously that went to almost 1,000 users within like a week, and it was intense and very, very difficult. So I guess there's probably not much advice I could give myself apart from what we did, which is hang in there and just, you know, keep plowing at it. And thankfully we were quite prepared when it came to like training materials and stuff. I'd already produced a large bank of online training materials that were available, so we could send that out to people already. Maybe the advice I would give him was, maybe I should have expanded that. Had I known, you know, how quickly we were going to get thrown into this, it might have been nice to have some more training content online, because then that does take the pressure off the team a little bit, because you can kind of just send people out to these training videos. But yeah, other than that, I don't think there was much else that really we could have done differently. Yeah.